Are we ready? Technical difficulties? I can't hear you.
The Zoom video is, the Zoom video is not working, but when we post it tomorrow live, it'll be there.
Okay, all right. Okay, it is 6:30. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see a full room. Always like an audience. It's important that we have residents that come to the meetings every once in a while, and so I really appreciate you being here. It is the council meeting for the City of Fairway, Kansas. It is Monday, October 13th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I have no announcements. Nathan, do you? All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have three proclamations that I would like to read into the record. The first is concerning Indigenous Peoples Day. Whereas the City of Fairway recognizes that the indigenous peoples of the lands that would later become known as the Americas have occupied these lands since time immemorial. And whereas the City of Fairway recognizes that Fairway is built upon the homelands of indigenous peoples. And whereas Fairway, Kansas is home of the Shawnee Indian Mission State Historic Site, which was placed in the National Register for Historic Places in 1968. Whereas the City of Fairway values the many contributions made to this area through indigenous peoples, intellectual, spiritual, and the deep cultural contributions that have enhanced the character of the City of Fairway. And whereas the idea of Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed in 1977 by the delegation of Native nations to the United Nations. And now, therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, Kansas, do hereby proclaim Monday, April 13th, 2025, as Indigenous Peoples Day in the City of Fairway and urge citizens to reflect upon the culturally diverse struggles of indigenous people on this land. Next is National First Responder Day. Whereas first responders, including public works professionals, firefighters, police officers, emergency medical technicians, 911 operators, paramedics, and other emergency personnel stand on the front lines of our communities, selflessly serving and protecting the citizens of Fairway, Kansas in times of crisis. And whereas first responders respond swiftly and courageously to emergencies, often putting their own lives at risk to ensure the safety and well-being of others, whether in natural disasters, accidents, medical emergencies, or public health and safety threats. And whereas it is the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Fairway, Kansas, to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and other first responder efforts in their respective communities. And whereas as of 2019, the U.S. Senate has included language recognizing public works alongside fellow and other first responders. Resolved, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, Kansas, do hereby designate October 28th, 2025 as National First Responders Day. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies, paying tribute to our public works first responders alongside law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, emergency medical technicians, 911 operators, and other emergency personnel to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all. Dated this 13th day of October, 2025. The third proclamation concerns Rainy Day Books Day. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Rainy Day Books. Whereas Rainy Day Books, founded in 1975 in Fairway, Kansas, has for 50 years been a beloved independent bookstore and a cultural treasure for the entire Kansas City region. And whereas through the vision and dedication of founder Vivian Jennings and the leadership of Roger Dorian, Rainy Day Books has earned national acclaim for its author programs, community partnerships, and lifelong commitment to connecting readers with books that inspire and enlighten. And whereas for 5 decades, Rainy Day Books has nurtured a love of reading among generations of families in Fairway and throughout the area, fostering curiosity, creativity, and conversation through its shelves, events, and outreach. And whereas its renowned author events have brought some of the world's most distinguished writers, thinkers, and public figures to the Kansas City area, enriching our community's cultural and intellectual life. And whereas Rainy Day Books stands as a shining example of the independent spirit, resilience, and community connection that defines small businesses in Northeast Johnson County. And whereas on this milestone 50th anniversary, the City of Fairway proudly joins with neighboring communities in honoring the enduring impact of Rainy Day Books and expressing gratitude for its continued contribution to our region's literary and civic life. Now therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, Kansas, do hereby proclaim November 4th, 2025 as Rainy Day Books Day in the City of Fairway and encourage residents to celebrate this remarkable milestone by supporting independent bookstores, sharing great stories, and cherishing the joy of reading that Rainy Day Books has so beautifully cultivated for 50 years. Dated this 13th day of October, 2025. Next on the agenda are the monthly reports of the standing committees. Consolidated Fire District Number 2, welcome, Chief. We're glad you're here. We saw your report that your assistant sent to us.
Thank you. Appreciate you all letting me come speak. I'll try and keep it brief because it looks like you have a lot to accomplish tonight.
Yes, we do.
Out of respect for time, I'm going to jump into it really quickly. The report that you got for the third quarter, you'll notice some additional statistics on there. You're going to notice that we start reporting the 90th percentile in statistics rather than just the average. A lot of that is driven by the fact that a lot of the fire and EMS statistics and thresholds that we use to compare ourselves to nationally are done in 90th percentile. It's a little bit more accurate representation of the total body of work. And what I wanted to address tonight on that report specifically is that we went back and figured the 90th percentiles for 2024, and then we've worked on 90th percentiles for 2025. We've seen a little bit of a shift. We've seen a little bit of a lengthening in some of the turnout on emergent fire calls. And we did a deep dive to figure out what that is, because anytime the turnout time gets longer, it troubles me. So what we have discovered is that it's specific to Station 2, which is the station we're remodeling right now. And because we've shifted the firefighters to another area of the station for their comfort and safety while we're doing remodeling, we've moved them in an area that's a little harder to get to. And so our turnout time to get to the truck is a little bit longer right now. And so I'm excited about the fact that we were able to find that and identify it and address it. As soon as the project moves a little bit further forward, we'll be in good shape there. So a couple of things. We are in the process of switching our data management and data mining software which is really going to help us to provide our cities with a lot more information that is a lot more telling. We're going to be able to do some heat maps for the kinds of calls we're running. We'll be able to do a lot better graphic representation of the kind of services we're providing to the communities. And so with that, we'll look forward to sharing that in the future as we get that program installed and up and running. So to report on construction right now, our contractor for Station 22 has delivered some good news in our last couple of progress meetings. First of all, we're currently remaining on schedule to complete the work in the spring of 2026, hopefully in the month of April. And that at this time, so far we haven't we've hit relatively few issues that would impact our budget. So we're currently within the budget, and our contingency funds are still intact for anything that might come up. So we're really managing this project pretty well, and very comfortable with what we're getting in results. So that's exciting. So, and then the last thing is, you know, as we all do, we've been through budget season and getting budgets approved. This year, the CFD2 board approved a small increase in mill levy in order to fund long-term capital. We do about a 12 to 15-year projection on all of our major capital purchases. We, every year, look to try and make sure that within the 5-year period, we're pretty healthy and able to make those things happen, and we have time to plan for any oddities or shortages that we might have. So the county commission encouraged us to bring that back and try and bring a mill levy, a level mill levy to them. We had a second meeting. We did bring them a level mill levy, but what that does is poses a little bit of a challenge with our capital. Instead of having 5 years worth of fully funded capital initiatives, we're about 3.5, and we're going to start being in the red on some of the capital initiatives we have planned. So we either have to make some decisions how to either put some of those things off, or we've got to talk about how we're going to finance those, if there should be some sort of bond financing or something else done in order to meet the capital needs. So we're working on that. Our board is getting ready to work with us in collaboration, and we'll have more on that in the near future. But with all your time constraints, I'll keep it brief. Is there any questions that I can answer for you?
Any questions for the chief? That's it. Thank you, Chief Chick.
Y'all have a great evening.
Appreciate it. Administration and Finance, Nathan?
Thank you, Mayor. Administration report includes a recap of the items that were discussed from the administrative perspective. Those are provided in the report, and I won't go over those now. Regarding the finance report, we did have a situation where the sales tax distribution did not come through prior to our last Administration and Finance Committee meeting. It has since come through, but there was an error in the distribution from the state. So our total sales tax distribution for September should have been around $236,000. We only got about 92 of it on the 30th of September, and then they realized the error and deposited the other 143 on October 1st. So when we get the monthly financials, it's going to look like we were off this month on sales tax. When we do the October financials, it's going to look like we had a boom. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through there. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nathan? Lee?
Hey, Nathan, I just wondered if you do us all a favor and just sort of general update on where the e-scooter part of the law stands and what folks can expect going forward, since that's still outstanding.
Sure. So originally we had hoped to be able to have something to consider on the agenda for this evening. The chief and I have had several conversations. We've also been working with our attorney on this, and both the chief and I walked away with different impressions of where the committee left it at the end of the Administration and Finance Committee. And so we figured if we didn't have a clear understanding of what the committee was wanting, probably the committee didn't necessarily have a clear understanding of what was going to be presented. So rather than come up here and try and rewrite things from the dais, I talked with the mayor, and she agreed that this was better to go back to another Administration and Finance Committee meeting. So we will continue this discussion at the end of the month. It's on the 29th for the Administration and Finance Committee meeting, with the hopes that we will be able to bring a draft ordinance to the full governing body at the November meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Nathan? Thank you, Nathan. Police, Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to recognize that a number of your police department is here, along with our staff for a special presentation later. We're very grateful to be here, and I am very proud to serve with these men and women. In reference to last month, more of the same. Nearly every day, someone is taken into custody. We've had drug arrests, some financial crimes, and a number of warrants as well. Other than that, I'll let my report stand. If there's any other questions.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you, Chief. Public Works, Bill?
That it's kind
Bill?
of like getting all dressed up with nowhere to go. We assumed we'd be sweeping almost daily by now, and Mother Nature's not quite ready for us yet. But we did make a pass through the city during September, and those notes are detailed in my report for everyone to see. Other than that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Bill? Did you hear him, Nathan?
I did.
What did he say?
He said that weather's not quite cooperating to get going on the street sweeping, but essentially that's probably what everybody cared about. So
Okay.
that will be coming in the weeks to come.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bill. All right, Parks and Rec, Bryce.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll let my report stand as submitted. I will note that I put down my Fairway Pool report for you guys to review. There's one page missing that's about the adjustments we're going to make for next year. We're still digesting the 2025 pool season, so that will be coming later, but you can see a pretty good layout. We'll have a few bills that are coming due in October that I'll include in there. I'll update it. But that gives you a general overview of how our season went, and which was very well. And so we're excited to let you guys digest those numbers when you can. And this is available on the website as well at the Fairway Pool page on the website.
Great. And if we have questions, we'll bring them next month.
Sounds
to
great.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions for Bryce?
All right, just one little clarification. The golf simulator, for some reason, I thought that was coming this fall, but it'll be next fall, reading your report.
Yeah, it's in the 2026 budget, and
Okay.
most likely, if that continues to be approved, we would install in August of '26, and then open by Labor Day of 2026, open through the winter at the pool house.
Thank you. I had a lot of people wanting to play this winter, so we'll have to wait.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Thank you, Bryce. Okay, monthly reports of the special committees. I'm going to let you answer tree report.
No report.
Tree board, okay, no, thank you. Public comment for consent agenda items only. I will read those into the record before I ask for public comment. A, approve minutes of the previous regular and special city council meetings. B, approve claims and appropriations, ordinance number 1835, September 2025. C, approve mayoral appointment to planning, appointments, plural, to planning commission. Before I open this for public comment, if there is any, I would like to tell you what my appointments are. On the planning commission, we had one vacancy, and this individual sold his home, and he and his family moved outside the city. And the individual that will be filling that vacancy is Michael Tamburini. Michael is in Ward 1. His appointment will be through February 2026, which was the remaining duration of the term of the individual that left the city. Michael is an attorney with Levy Craig Law Firm. The second individual is Doug Daglish. He is in Ward 3. And this is an unusual situation in that Doug will be replacing a retirement of someone from the Planning Commission, and he probably feels like we just would never let him retire, because I convinced him time and time again to please come back because his service is extremely valued. And he is in the audience tonight. Ron, thank you for your service. He did not know I was going to do that, but I could not pass that up. Doug will fill that position right away, as Ron was ready to retire, he told me. So his appointment will also be through February of 2026, as that is when Ron's term would have expired. Then at that time, I have told both individuals that they will be reappointed for a 3-year term. Doug is an attorney with Stinson. Okay, I will now open the public comment section for our consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment? Nope. Anyone online, Nathan? Nope. Okay, these items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration and separate motion, they will let me know. Council, is there anything that you want removed or any questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C.
Been moved and seconded that we approve items A, B, and C under consent agenda. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is new business. We only have one item on new business, presentation, Saving a Hero's Place. Chief?
Well, once again, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to present Saving a Hero's Place. That organization builds chairs. They're known as honor chairs. The chairs are kept within the department as a way of saving a place for a fallen officer, and as you all know, we experienced that a little over 2 years ago. The organization was presented to the department by Officer Kraus, and I'd like him to come up and say a few words and then introduce the people behind Saving a Hero's Place.
Hello, I'm Officer Kraus with, obviously, Fairway Police Department. I was introduced to Saving a Hero Place back in 2019 when this organization was commissioned to build an honor chair for a great uncle of mine, Chief of Police in Naperville, Illinois, which is back where I'm from. He was killed in the line of duty a long time ago. And after that, they made the chair for that and really intrigued me about their organization. And then with my previous organization that I was a member of, Bonner Springs, they made 2 chairs for our fallen officers there. And then obviously when I started here, I wanted to bring that tradition here because I think it's an awesome way to continue to remember and to honor those that have made the ultimate sacrifice and to remember them within our organization. One of the founders of the organization, Tommy, and his wife Robbie are here, presented the chair with us today. I'm going to introduce them, allow them to come up and say a little bit about the organization and explain why they do what they do. So Tommy, Robbie, if you guys want to come up. They're from Texas. That's where the organization's housed out of down there. They came up and said, I'm sorry, there's a microphone here if you guys would please. Okay. You guys want to go ahead?
I'm used to having people on both sides of me.
Go from there.
I'm going to turn this way. I'm just going to give a brief story on why we started doing this. Like you mentioned, my name is Tommy Capel. It's my wife, Robert Capel. We founded this organization in October of 2013. I was with the San Antonio Police Department in Texas. I graduated in 2010. My classmate was killed 2 months after he graduated the academy. For the next 4 years, we lost an officer every year in the line of duty. I believe we skipped a year, and then we lost 2 more officers the following 2 years. So early in my career, I'd seen, I guess, the risk or the sacrifices that you may make when you're out there. But our department had a chair that someone, I think they went and bought a chair, and they put a metal plaque on it with the officer's name. And that chair had been there for several years before I came on the department. Well, when we lost an officer, someone asked me if I would build one, because I've done woodworking forever, since I was a little kid, and everyone knew that within the department. So they asked me if I would build a chair for that officer. I didn't know that officer. I never worked there. San Antonio is a like 2,200 officer department. We don't know each other. So I didn't realize at the time what that chair was going to mean to those guys that did work at that substation. So I built the chair, I gave it to him, and that was supposed to be the only time that was ever going to happen. I believe that was March of 2013. April of 2013 is when the Boston Marathon bombing happened. The MIT officer was sitting in his patrol car. They walked up and shot and killed him. He had nothing to do with what was going on at the time. He was sitting on the MIT campus. For whatever reason, that I was angry. I couldn't sleep. I was just mad that happened to him. I didn't have any ties to Boston at the time. I'd barely been out of Texas at the time. It's just, I think it's the way it happened that it bothered me, because I always told my wife I do not want to be sitting in my patrol car if something ever happens to me. I want to be out, at least giving a fight. So I think that's why that bothered me. So I sent them an email. I said, hey, I'm from Texas. This might sound weird, but could I build you guys a chair to place in your station for Officer Collier? I don't actually think I expected to get an email back, to be honest, but I did get an email back immediately saying yes. We want a chair. Our department is devastated. It should have never happened to MIT college campus. And so I built a chair. First, I told my wife that I had emailed a department 2,000 something miles away. I didn't really take that into consideration at the time. But I built it, she started raising money, and we drove the chair all the way to Boston. And when we presented that chair is when we saw what it meant to have that and to know that he was always going to have a seat there. And that's when we knew we needed to keep doing this. We had a long drive home. We started looking up, how do you do a nonprofit? Because we had no idea what we were doing. So luckily our neighbor was a CPA, so he created a nonprofit for us. This will be the 312th chair we've done since 2013. And sometimes it sounds like a lot of chairs, but when over 100 officers are killed every year in the line of duty, to us it's such a small amount. But we do personally deliver every chair. If we can't do it, we get another officer to do it. We left our house on the 5th of October, and we've been presenting chairs ever since. So we'll drive back home tomorrow, but we went to Ohio first, Indiana, and then we came here. But it's just, we did it as a nonprofit because we didn't want a department to reach out and have to pay for it. Of course, departments often donate, and people donate, but we didn't want that to be a reason they did not get a chair. We didn't want them to request a chair, and we say, hey, it's this much, and they say, oh, never mind, and then we don't do it. We do it no matter what. We'll travel across the country without a dime from the department because we get donations throughout the year, and that's how we're able to do it. So this is I guess, third chair we have in Kansas, because we did do 2 in Bonner Springs. And we do want to thank you for reaching out to us again. A lot of times we get noticed by word of mouth. We'll do a chair, and then we'll get home and we'll get another request in that same area because we just did a chair there. You want to read the? Oh yeah, we do have one now in at least 30 different states across the nation. We have one in the National Law Enforcement Memorial in D.C. We have 2 in the U.S. Capitol. We have one in the Texas Ranger Museum. Where else? We have one in Colombia, one for the Israeli police. We did not deliver those ourselves. Trying to think what else. I think that's it. Yeah, she's going to read what we came up with. What we came up with as a purpose of the honor chair.
The honor chair. Roll call is one of the few places your shift mates sit together before going on their tours. During roll call, not only the activities and assignments read, but it gives a place for some healthy banter, kudos for previous actions and a reminder that you're not alone once you do hit the streets. When a law enforcement officer makes the ultimate sacrifice, his or her presence is missed. The honor chair is placed in the roll call room as a reminder that even though they're not there physically, the officer will always be with you as you head out to the battles, carrying on the watch in their honor.
I think that's all we got. That's all we got. Thank you. I'm always on time.
Can I get the department to come up? Can I get the officers to come up? Basically my Fairway family. Thank you.
Thank you for this beautiful chair. Officer Oswald was a very special person, and we remember him in many ways, but this is unique. Thank you for thinking of us and driving to Fairway, Kansas. We will never forget. You have a wonderful, wonderful legacy that you're leaving, and you're helping all of us, even though we never completely heal. This helps. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. And the gentleman in the back, we appreciate your contributions to making this possible for us. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Moving on to item number 9 on our agenda is the governing body comment. During this time, members of the governing body will be given the opportunity to speak about matters related to the city. No formal action will be taken. Whitney, I believe you told me you had something you'd like to share?
I did want to pass my thanks and appreciation on to city staff. Abby, I know I saw you at the event on Saturday for the community recycling. Thank you for your work to make that happen for everyone.
Anyone else? David?
I'd like to add my thanks to you all also. I sure wish you didn't have to be here, but that's going to be a wonderful thing for our city forever to remember Officer Oswald. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we'll close this section, the governing body comment. Before I open the public comment section of our meeting tonight, there's a few things that I would like to say as mayor. I know why most of you are here, and that it has to do with the Houlihan's vacancy at the end of our Fairway shops. Pardon? Oh, okay. And I'd just like to say a few comments before I open public comment. I don't know how many of you know me well, but I am a facts-based person. It's the way I operate. Staff will tell you I don't make a decision or give a recommendation until I ask them a million questions and want to know the facts. So that is what I want to share with you this evening. What I'd like to say first, though, we all want this restaurant in Fairway. The governing body wants it, staff wants it, and I know residents want it. They tell me that when I'm out talking to them, when I'm talking to them on the phone. We all want this restaurant. There is no doubt in my mind that we want this restaurant. That building where Houlihan's was is privately owned. It is not a part of the Fairway Shops. The Fairway Shops are owned by First Watch. First Washington. Oh, gosh, sorry. First Washington. Thank you, David. And the building where Houlihan's was is owned by private investors, a total of 11. That's hard to get things done with 11 people. Now, I'd like to go through some facts from the very first time that Whitney Van Zant was in this council chambers and gave us his presentation. Anything I say this evening, I am not throwing Whitney under the bus. These are strictly facts. On February 10th, he made his presentation to us and told us about Brewtop and what his dream was, what he wanted to accomplish here in Fairway. We all were very excited about the concept. We still are. That evening, the funding agreement for that project was approved by City Council. The funding agreement is the very first thing that happens in a transaction like this. What a funding agreement is, that some of you may not be familiar with that. It's a document that commits an individual, an entity, to funding the costs, in this case, the costs of the city, that we will incur in making this transaction happen. Legal fees, any other kind of consultant fees, whatever we incur, because we don't know when we're budgeting when someone is going to ask for a CID or a TIF. We don't know. So we have no money in our budget to do that. So the funding agreement allows us to have the money to accomplish this. That agreement was approved that very night. 2 months later, on April 10th, Whitney signed the funding agreement. So we lost 2 months. The amount that was specified in that agreement at the time is $15,000. It will be replenished as we go down the road. On April 30th, city staff reminded Whitney about the funding agreement. He hadn't funded it yet. We had not received a check. 3 months later, on July 27th, Whitney signed the lease for that building. And I'd like to explain a little background about a lease with that group of investors. Prior to this time, the city had maybe half a dozen entities that were interested in that building that contacted the city, and we referred those to Block as the commercial real estate broker, and he took them to the investors, all of them. They were all suitable for that building and for what we knew the residents wanted in that building. And 2 of them came back personally to me and said, sorry, the lease amount's just way too much. And there was no negotiating. So I feel that we lost 6 opportunities because of that. So when it took Whitney 3 months to get a signed lease, I wasn't surprised. And Whitney said to me upstairs in the conference room, he said, "That's the toughest negotiation I've ever been through." So I knew that he really did want his restaurant here, but it was tough to get to that position. However, on July 31st, the staff again reminded him about the $15,000. We had not yet received it. We can't move forward until we get that money. We also told him at that time that a CID petition would be necessary. And I'll explain a little bit what that petition is. On August 6th, the city receives information on a change for the menu from the Brew Top to American Fire. And the change to the menu was in, we are called the Committee of the Whole. And in one of our Committee of the Whole meetings, which we have once a month, it's the Admin Finance Committee, we looked at this menu, or maybe it was an executive session. We looked at this menu, and it had items like duck and fried oysters, snails, foie gras, what's the beef? What, okay. And we said, well, this is a significant change. This is not the menu that you presented to us. And he said, well, I've now hired my chef, and this is my chef's capabilities. And I want to share those with you. And we said, well, that's great, but this is not what the residents were expecting. So after some discussion, what happened was when he said, oh, no, the menu's going to be the same. These will be offerings that he'll have from time to time. Okay, great. But that took some time to get to that point. On August 13th and 14th, we reminded him again about the $15,000. He had not yet paid it. Now remember, that funding agreement was given to him in February. So here we are 6 months later, on August 21st, he funds the funding agreement, so we can finally proceed. August 25th, 4 days later, we gave him a draft development agreement and a draft CID petition. Now, those are 2 critically important documents to making this CID happen. The CID petition is required by state statute. It's required by law that we have a signed petition, and that signed petition has to come from the owners of the building. The vehicle to get that to them is Whitney. The request for the CID district has to be established through the petition in order for us to give a 30-day notice to you as the residents that here's our hearing date when we are going to approve the CID district, because it's a special district for that particular part of Fairway. The development agreement is with Whitney, and the developing agreement is where the negotiation goes on as to the funding and what the dollar amounts are going to be. Okay? At that time, this is August 25th, we gave Whitney, staff did, a deadline to get that information back to us, the signed petition, so that we could proceed with approving it at the September City Council meeting. This was August 25th. It didn't happen. He didn't get it back to us. November 4th, he misses the deadline for the petition, and we told him that we would have to move it to the October, today, City Council meeting. On September 30th, Whitney informed city staff that the petition would not be ready for the October meeting, so we could not put it on the agenda. So we still do not have that, unless you've received it today, the signed city petition. And remember, it's to be signed by the investment group. So if they make it to the November City Council meeting, it will have taken 3 months to get that signed petition. And remember, then we have to, by state law, give you a 30-day notice so that we file that for that hearing date. At this time, no negotiations have begun on the development agreement. But that isn't because the city hasn't been trying. Staff has bent over backwards. The city council and myself have bent over backwards to try and make this happen. And one thing that, good faith effort that we have done, we have asked our attorneys to draft a development agreement. All they have to do is fill in the blanks. It's been prepared for them. Same goes with the petition. Our attorneys drafted that. Now, we will get that back through the funding agreement, but Whitney will also get it back through the additional sales tax that users of the restaurant will be paying. That's what a CID is. Those are the facts. I hope that you can see that we really are trying to get this restaurant, and we are just as frustrated as you are. But those are the facts of what we have been living with since February 10th. There were a number of things that happened even prior to that, but I don't want to take any more of your time. I think this was relevant to this evening. Nathan, do you have anything you want to add?
I want to reiterate that both the mayor and I have really enjoyed the process of getting to know Whitney. And I think if you follow his restaurant group at all, you recognize he is a very busy businessman. He's since the meeting in February, he has acquired other restaurants or concepts or are opening up additions to his current concepts. So he's an extraordinarily busy person, and there's no begrudging that from our end. I think, I just want to reiterate that the city, even without having with the funding agreement signed, but without having the funds in place, as that good faith effort, we did have our attorneys go through and craft the development agreement, the draft of it, as well as the petition. And that was a risk that we accepted, knowing that if he never turns in or funds the funding agreement, then we're out the costs of those expenses. So it was just another way for us to try to keep the process moving forward. Because generally, in other agreements that we've done, the city has not crafted the draft of the petition. That has come from the other entity's legal team. So I went back and looked at our previous two. We currently have two other public incentives currently in place. One is the CID that is for the building at 4100 China Mission Parkway where the Starbucks is located. The other is the building next door, the active adult complex, which opened up last week, started accepting residents. So I just want to point out that the CID for where the Starbucks is, the first communication with the city came in October of 2019, and the council didn't sign the development agreement and approve the petition, which was done at the same meeting, until December of 2020. So about a year and 3 months is how long that process took. For the TIF agreement, we started in April of 2021, and it was not signed and approved until March of 2022. So as quickly as we all want to move things along, we do have some constraints. The notification requirements are there, as the mayor mentioned. We have, once we receive the petition, which obviously we can't write, we can't sign, that has to come from the ownership group. The state law has a mandatory wait before the hearing can take place because we have to publish it in several places to let folks know that the creation of this district is potentially forthcoming. So this is unfortunately, well, it's unfortunate that it's taking this long, and it seems like a very bureaucratic process. The flip side to that is nobody would want us to be making deals overnight. These need to be well thought out. We need to make sure that both sides are benefiting from the agreement, because every single public incentive sets a new precedent. And so as we look at, Fairway is relatively young in terms of providing formalized public incentives. We have done some in the past. In fact, we did one with Stroud's. We did one with Pizza 51. Not nearly to the extent of what we've done with the CIDs, and certainly not with the TIF. But it's a methodical process that we have to go through to ensure that we're complying with the state, and also making sure that we're getting a good deal for all residents. And just as an example of that, the TIF agreement for the active adult complex or the Fieldston, the attorneys and our financial advisors that helped us with that process, by the time all was said and done, everyone, even the developer, was stating that it was the most city-friendly agreement that they had ever seen in their careers, and some of these were 30-year-long financial advisor careers. So it is a process that we try to move as quickly as we can, but at the end of the day, we're going to take getting it right over getting it done quick, and that's where we're at. But honestly, with this one, with the previous CID and the previous TIF, those developers were focused 100% on getting their agreements done as quickly as possible. For understandable reasons, this one just has not moved that quickly. But I would just reiterate that we are at the ready. The draft development agreement and the CID petition are as far as we can take them before we need to get some answers back from the other side. So as soon as we have those, I do believe we have the potential of being able to approve the petition or create the district and approve the development agreement all in one shot. So it's not as if we're going to sit and wait for the petition to get done and then we turn and pivot to the development agreement. I've been working with legal on these side by side now since June, probably. We're ready to go. It's just we have to have the blanks filled in.
And to concisely say this, I guess, we are on Whitney's timeline. This is not the city's timeline. You agree? And as Nathan said, we're ready to go. And by preparing these drafts ahead of time, we're just waiting. And it's not, and we send little reminders and say, hey, Whitney, we need this. And so I ask your patience. We are trying. Thank you, Nathan. All right, that ends my comments. I will open public comment for items not listed on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to come forward? If so, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Jason Rogers, 5439 Fairway Road, District, or I guess Ward 1. Yeah, I guess I'm here as well to understand kind of what I've heard rumors that there's been some information that's been put out to certain residents, specifically in Ward 1. I guess I don't know where that came from, but been copied on text messages and heard about emails that have been circulating, so on and so forth. Mayor, I appreciate the timeline and the factual information. I think I speak for, or I'll speak for some, stating that I'm pretty sure that everybody that lives in Fairway wants a restaurant there. I've lived in the city for 15-plus years, went through the Houlihan's, also was on council, went through the iterations of multiple restaurants wanting to come into the Houlihan space, COVID, so on and so forth, whatever. I would urge residents, if this is the first city council meeting that you've ever attended, come to more of them. I will say that the openness of this city council, I still can't believe that you guys are doing online meetings. Like, we started that up during COVID. And I'm surprised that the Zoom is still up. That just goes to show that literally you can be anywhere in the world and find out what's going on inside this chamber. So you won't find anyone who's more transparent, more responsive either. If you have a question as a resident, I would urge you to reach out to either staff or Nathan or the mayor or your representative. And I can assure you, or all of the above, and I can assure you, you will get a response in a very timely fashion, regardless of what the issue is. And it will be very well thought out, very easy to understand, and you will get the full background, without a doubt. So look forward to something going in there, hopefully. And anything I can help with, let me know, and appreciate the communication and appreciate the timeline.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else? Anyone online? Nathan? Oh, Eric's coming forward.
We got it now? Eric Smith, 5346 Belender. Just two quick things. First, really wanted to thank the mayor and council for the support of the tunnel project and redoing that. For those of us who live within some proximity of it, it's awesome. We walked over there. We used it tonight. I still can't believe how beautiful it is. And I mean, how many times we've now been over to the Front Range in the evening and discovered they have a bar there as well. So, you know, who knew? Coffee and other beverages. So anyway, thank you so much for that. Mayor, we appreciate the summary on the restaurant. I understand it's been a very lengthy process, but we do want to just reiterate our support for the restaurant in the old Houlihan's Place, and everything that you can do to bring that to conclusion. We really are hopeful that will happen. So thanks so much for the effort and the focus on it. I know it's been a tremendously difficult process, and we appreciate your work on that. Thank you.
Eric, you have my promise, you have my commitment, and I will do everything I can to move it along. I know Nathan will too, and we'll make it happen.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else?
Okay. Laura Chisholm, 5508 Norwood. I just want to say I also support the restaurant, and it's come to my attention that Shop Clairvaux is moving to Prairie Village. I know we lost the Little House to Prairie Village, and the restaurant space has been vacant for 6 years. So I just wanted to see what you as city leaders are doing to kind of promote Fairway to local businesses and to retain the ones that we currently have. It's a real concern to me that if we have a lot of empty spaces in the Fairway shops, those are tax dollars that we're potentially not getting. And I just wanted to let you know that that's a concern that I have as a resident. But it's been 6 years since we've had a restaurant. We need a space to all join together as a community, and I just really would encourage you. Whitney seems to be right there, low-hanging fruit. It would be really difficult to start over in this process, so maybe try to do whatever you can to make sure that that happens. If it's setting up meetings with him, calling him, you know.
We've done all that.
Okay, continue to do that, please, because that's really important.
We will.
Thank you.
We normally don't comment during public comment, but I'm going to take this opportunity because as mayor, I can do that. A few more facts on Houlihan's. On December 31st, 2019, one of our officers was patrolling the Fairway shops. He found the notice on the door. The city was not told. They just closed. They went into bankruptcy. And then 20 and 21 were COVID. 22, nobody was doing anything in the restaurant business. And because that building was privately owned, the group that owned Houlihan's wanted to get it out of the bankruptcy court. So nothing could be done until it got out of the bankruptcy court. So we had to deal with that. So we lost 20, 21, 22, and part of 23. The city cannot control that. Now, as far as the Fairway shops, as I said, they are owned by First Washington, not First Watch. And Nathan and I periodically meet with First Washington. I've been unhappy with the upkeep of the shops, and they've started doing things, right, Nathan? And they know our displeasure. They also know our displeasure on the vacancies. We only have one right now, and that's the Little House. And that space, we were told by First Washington, is extremely difficult because of ADA compliance. And they've been trying to get it rented, but they can't. Now, that doesn't mean they won't, but that's what they're telling us. You haven't had any other updates on that one?
No, but I would just reiterate that we do meet with them regularly, and they've been open to some of our suggestions, and we've indicated a willingness to work with them on some potential ideas that obviously it's too early to talk about now, but we're working on it.
Yeah, within the next couple of years is their indication. Another thing we're doing is we're working with the chamber, the Northeast Johnson County Chamber. That's part of, we're a member. That's part of their responsibility too, to help First Washington find tenants for our space. I think I answered all your questions, I think. You don't look like you like the answers, but that's what they are. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
We are working on it, but we don't own the shops. That ties your hands. Anyone else? Nope. Going once? Twice? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Please come back.
That was great, Melanie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very helpful.